What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Unapologetic podcast, where we are unapologetically, unequivocally, and undeniably us. This is episode 101. That's a lot. That's a mouthful. And we're coming to you live and always in color. We got a fun episode today. And maybe I do gotta stop chewing this gum. I'm gonna stop chewing in a second. My breath is kicking a little bit. I'm gonna stop chewing this gum in like a second. But we got a big episode. Nah, I gotta stop now. I can feel myself chewing super crazy. This is a great start to the episode, guys. It's a phenomenal start to the episode. I'm just going to put it right there. Don't waste a piece of gum, y'all. We're in a recession. We got a great episode today. We are going to recap New Japan Pro Wrestling, everything that happened, Wrestle Kingdom and New Year's Dash. We're going to recap that and kind of see where New Japan should be going in the very near future. I also do have the card, or the projected or currently announced card, going into the New Beginning tour in February. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a lot about New Japan in this episode here. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA All-Star, NBA fan voting All-Star, whatever the case, returns. The second returns are out. We're going to kind of look at just a little bit. We're going to take a look at it and talk about the big jumps. There's really 4 big jumps or 4 big happenings that happened during the second return that stand out. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Also, this weekend does start NFL playoffs. The NFL wildcard weekend is this weekend. What is that? 6 games? 6 games taking place this weekend. Is it 6? Am I bugging? It is 6. Yeah, 6 games happening this weekend. So we got some games to talk about. We're gonna try, and I'm saying it right now, we're gonna try. I got the notes in front of me. We're gonna try to deep dive and talk about these teams from the knowledge that I had to get from Bleacher Report, talking about these teams. We're gonna try to talk about it a little bit and make our predictions based off of that. I will try to be as unbiased as possible when we talk about it, but we will be talking about that. So we got some fun things to talk about and a lot of topics I'm super excited to dissect on this podcast. But you know how we do it. Before we do any of that, we got to start off with a little bit of a self-check-in. So let me know how you doing. I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing 5 seconds or not. I don't think. Okay, we'll say it anyway. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, first off, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. For the first time, I don't know why you're here. I don't know what brought you here, but we're thankful that you are here. It's episode 101. So for the past 100 episodes before this, what we've done is a little bit of a self-check-in. I give the listener about 5 seconds if you wanted to keep the podcast playing, or you can pause it, whatever the case. We love to do self-check-ins and check in on your mental health and your well-being, because I think some people don't do that. We're moving so fast as humans that we fail to take the time to check in with ourselves. So that's kind of what I try to do here, is give you, the listener, the opportunity to, hey man, if you have no one to talk to, speak to me, say it out into the void how you're feeling, and hopefully it lightens your load a little bit. And in return, I talk about my stuff, which we're about to do. So hope you guys are having a great day, week, month since the last time you've listened to the podcast. And again, this is your first time listening. Shout out to you. Welcome to the podcast. As far as self-check-ins with us, I'm actually more energetic than I was starting this podcast. The lead up to the podcast, the past hour, maybe 2 hours leading up to recording right now in this very moment, was a little topsy-turvy, but we're here and we're excited, because I'm very excited to talk about, obviously one particular topic today anyway. Excuse me, pardon my French. Any big happenings, man? Any big happenings? I went to the bookstore last weekend. I think it was last Saturday. Last Saturday, I went to the bookstore, got 2 books. Haven't read them yet. They're just sitting there. I do fully want to read these books. It's just timing. It is. It's just timing. Went to Brooklyn twice, actually. Went to Brooklyn twice this week, which is crazy because I don't go to Brooklyn at all. Tried to go to the Nets game. Went on the wrong day. Sold the tickets. Hopefully I'm getting my money back, because they did sell. Went to a, what can I call that? I didn't go to a rave necessarily. I went to a party, though. I went to a party with my girlfriend last night, and I got into her world. This is the first time I'm going to a party in her world. It was an experience, man. It was certainly, I would do it again. I'd absolutely do it again. Shout out to Verist, and I don't remember the other person's name, and I know she's going to be like, I can't say that on the podcast, what I was about to say, because I said the last podcast episode I wouldn't say it, but it has nothing to do with what I just said. Trust me, it has nothing to do with what I just said. But shout out to Varys, because that is the reason mostly that we were there last night. So shout out to him. Set was fire. He did his thing as usual. On the topic of DJing, also make sure you go to SoundCloud and check SoundCloud. I gotta find out what that other application is, that other website is. But go to SoundCloud, go to type in T space K and go listen to "A Love Lost" and "Love Is the Key." Those are two DJ mixes dropped by my girlfriend. Phenomenal mixes. I very much enjoy them. Yes, I'm biased, but I'm also saying this unbiasedly. They are very good mixes. Also considering that I'm not fully exposed to the world of EDM and DJing and house music. So shout out to her. Go give it a listen. On the topic of promotion, you can go to Instagram and Twitter at Nas Kaleem, NASKALEEM. Head over there. If you go to Instagram, there's a link tree in my bio. If you go to the link tree, you'll get pretty much a link to all things me, and that's Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter, where I'm trying to get back into streaming. Haven't streamed yet, haven't booted up the stream, but it is something I'm looking to do very much. I got some games I'm thinking about playing that require money to actually buy, but also I can just redo the games I'm doing, because there's so many creative ideas I have in my brain that I just want to kind of put out there into the world, because I think the world should watch me play these games. Also, in the link tree, because I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about it. Again, if you go to the link tree, you don't even have to go to the link tree. If you go to Instagram, you click, was it the first video? The first and second one, I think it is. The first and second video on my Instagram page itself. There's promotion currently there. I have to do more promotion, but there is currently promotion there for a shirt. I designed a shirt. I'm super proud of it, actually. It's the first shirt I've designed and actually put effort into. It revolves around my first quote that I kind of put together myself, and it goes as follows. We are all branches of the same tree. We may crack and we may break, but we will not fall. And that is the gist of it. Is a dope shirt. I need to start wearing it. I need to start promoting it a little bit more, but it's there. So if you want to kind of look at the shirt, really go to the first page, first post on my Instagram page, scroll all the way to the end, watch it, see how I am as a person. Look at my year in review. Last post there, boom, there it is. The shirt. I'm gonna do more promotion for it for sure. So with all that being said, please make sure you like, comment, give some feedback on the podcast, share the podcast. It all is very much appreciated, and especially when I get in a bad state of mind and I realize that nobody really cares, but I care. And you know why I care? Because we talk about very fun topics on this podcast, and no topic is more fun. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna start with the NBA, because I really want to talk about New Japan. I've been waiting a week to talk about New Japan, and it's very surprising that I have, but we're going to talk about the NBA fan vote return, and I didn't know that I was going to. I didn't think I was going to make this a topic every week now of the podcast, to kind of take the time and look at the differences, but there are 4 key differences, but I will say the top 5 is the same in both conferences, so the leaderboard didn't really change, but what did change, Austin Reeves jumps into the top 10. He moves Alperen Sengun out of the top 10 to number 11. So shout out to Austin Reeves, who was a guy that I absolutely did, or I tried to vote for when I tried to fill out my ballot. I have not really filled out my ballot. I had a screenshot of who I would have voted for. Didn't work, so just didn't try. Kawhi Leonard gets about 190K votes to jump to number 13 from number 20. So he's getting a lot of love since that first fan vote came out. Cooper Flag jumps into the top 20. At number 16, he bumps Chet Holmgren out as a result of jumping in to the top 20. You got Scotty Barnes also jumping into the top 20. He goes to number 14 as a result. Paolo Banchero moves out. So not some are super surprising. The fact that Scotty Barnes didn't have all-star votes is a little surprising, but it seems like the Toronto faithful and people that are fans of Scotty Barnes have certainly come out in drones and thrown him some all-star votes to get him in the conversation at the very least. Paolo Banchero falling out of the top 20 isn't really surprising. He's not having a great year. I just watched a video. Shout out to, once again, 6 Rings of Steel. Go follow him on YouTube. He talked about the disappointing year, and I don't have the stats, but I think it was something along the lines of like 20.7 points per game, which is about 4 points per game lower than what he's averaging. The assists and rebounds are still pretty high, but even the efficiency from the field, especially from three-point range, is not up to the snuff that it should be, especially actually the free throw percentage as well. It's not up to what it should be for a guy that just got an extension, I believe, his rookie extension. So, I don't know, man. Hopefully Paolo can rebound. Funny enough, that was the team I was supposed to see play this past week, but it's fine because I got another team that I'm looking forward to seeing play in a couple of weeks, and we'll talk about them in a very quick second. Shout out to Cooper Flagg as a rookie. He's not going to make the All-Star game. If he doesn't make it in the fan vote, he's absolutely not making it from a coach vote perspective. But shout out to him for getting the votes. And it's actually really funny because as I'm looking at the votes, Chet Holmgren falling out of the top 20, it either shows that people do not like OKC or people do not like Chet Holmgren, because you would think that he'd have a lot more votes. Now, granted, I don't think Chet or Jalen Williams are All-Stars this year. We said that in the All-Star predictions video that I did, 3 episodes ago. I don't think he's an All-Star, Chet Holmgren specifically, but I think OKC gets 2 All-Stars. Now, we'll see if the coaches do that. I'm actually super excited to see when the actual votes come out. I love All-Star Weekend, and we will be talking about it in verbatim as the weeks come on. Again, Kawhi Leonard jumping up to number 13 from number 20 is huge. I don't think I had him as an All-Star. I had James Harden as an All-Star over him, especially when you consider the speculation that Kawhi Leonard had with the tree scandal, the money under the table kind of scandal thing. So it's interesting. Kawhi is as high as he is. He's playing phenomenal, though. I think over the past, 2 weeks, he's been playing out of his mind. So shout out to him for what he's doing on the basketball court, but we didn't forget what you did off the basketball court, potentially. We're not going to let that slide. Shout out to Austin Reeves once again. Again, a guy that I very much want to see as an all-star. I think he should be one of 2 representatives from the Lakers, and there might be a couple when you consider the amount of players that are currently getting hurt and or may not make it due to, I guess, numbers of games played pre-All-Star game. So, I don't know. With a bunch of spots probably opening up and the All-Star game being positionless now as far as voting goes, Austin Reeves has a very good chance of making the All-Star game, and I think he should. He's definitely one of those guys that I'm very excited to see make it for the first time. On the topic of the NBA, as we get ready to move away from the topic, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the big trade that happened the other day. I almost said the word. The big trade, should I say. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That was funny. I know it was. Trae Young getting traded to the Washington Wizards for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen the video I put out probably 30 minutes to an hour after the trade, where I kind of gave my thoughts on the trade, my immediate thoughts on the trade. And funny enough, Trae Young is currently, at the time recording, doing a press conference with, I think it's the owner of the Wizards, talking about the everything revolving around that trade. So that's currently happening. But my initial thoughts on the trade, I thought it was a win-win for both teams. Now, my big takeaway, and I do think the first thing I said, was the glaring omission to the trade is the fact that there's no draft picks involved. The Hawks acquired no draft picks for Trae Young. Not even a second-round pick. Feels very odd. And it also, in a way, it feels like it sets a precedent for what we're going to see. Again, at the time of recording, Ja Morant, the Grizzlies came out and said they're entertaining trades for Ja Morant. We also saw the Pelicans come out and say they're not trading anybody. We saw, I want to say Dallas. Well, Anthony Davis did just get hurt again at the time of recording. I think he's going to be out for about 6 weeks. So we'll see what happens there, which also hurts his trade option or trade chances. Doesn't mean he won't get traded, but with, I think they said, ligament damage in his hand, we'll see if the Hawks, who are the front runners to trade for Anthony Davis, make that second trade, or if they pivot and make a different trade. Does the Trae Young trade happen if Anthony Davis gets hurt that way? You know what I mean? Or if he gets hurt in general, does it still happen? I don't know. Probably so. But yeah, my initial thoughts, I thought it was a win-win for both teams. When you're looking at the Hawks, Trae Young wasn't playing anyway, and when he did play, you were 2-8. So, and he's also, considering the fact, I got to throw that in there, he's on a player option this year, or he's on a 1-1, so this was his expiring deal. He had a player option this offseason, which he could have opted in to stay with the team and automatically get paid, and then you could have traded Trae Young in the offseason. That was also an idea. But yeah, for the Hawks, you're trading a guy that was a pretty much net negative for you. You lost more games than you won with him playing, and quite frankly, the organization has made it clear over the past couple of years, especially, that they're not too invested in him. I mean, since the early days of his career, I said this as well, I'm pretty sure, in the video. Trae Young peaked early in his career. Now, granted, he's 27 years old. He peaked very early in his career, taking the Hawks to, pardon my French, the Eastern Conference Finals pretty early on in his career. That crazy run he had, which I think, I don't know, for better or worse, it cemented him as a top name in the NBA, one of the top point guards in the NBA. So I think it gave him this aura in this. I didn't mean to use the word aura there, but it's giving him this certain status in the league immediately when he made that run. And the Hawks haven't lived up to it since. Playing bound for the past, 3 years or so? Not really to the fault of Trae Young completely. I mean, Trae Young's dealt with injuries, but he's been a consistent, 25 and 10 guy, 25 and 8, 25 and 9 guy for the past couple of years, really since he got in the NBA almost. So I don't know. It's odd. The Hawks haven't done a great job of surrounding Trae Young with the pieces he needed. They clearly see something in Jalen Johnson, rightfully so. Jalen Johnson will be an all-star this year. He's been great for the past year and a half, especially the defense has dropped off a little bit, but he's been very good. So I don't know. They see something in Jalen Johnson, and clearly they're trying to build something. When you look at the lineup, really look at what Dyson Daniels, CJ McCollum, Jalen Johnson, depends if you run him at the 3 or 4. You got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who probably does slot in next to Dyson Daniels. You got Onyeka Okongwu, who may or may not be on the bench. But you got some pieces still out there in Atlanta, and I think if they're able to make another trade, again, adding Anthony Davis, and if Anthony Davis can come back and play at the level he played at before this injury, you're looking at a win situation that at the very least gets them to the playoffs. Does it get them far in the playoffs? I don't think it does. I think the Hawks had such high expectations coming into the year. They have not lived up to it. And I think this is just one of those years. They also don't own, they don't own their draft pick. I think it's actually in Sacramento. I was going to say the Spurs owned it. Maybe I'm lying. I might be lying. I'm pretty sure the Spurs have the Hawks pick. I was going to say it was the Pelicans, but I think we do. I think we had the pick and then we traded it, as I was made aware of, to Sacramento. No, I'm thinking about a different trade. I don't know. I'm very confused. I have a bunch of different trades in my head based off of the video I watched, but that's the Atlanta side of it. And again, you get CJ McCollum, who's on an expiring deal. As I said in the video on my Instagram, and clearly I'm wrong in what I said, but Corey Kispert, I thought he was on an expiring deal. He's got 4 years, I think, on a contract there. So I don't know. If you are the Hawks, I don't think you like the Corey Kispert contract, and I'm sure they're going to be looking to trade it, but if nothing else, he's a 3-point sniper for you, and McCollum is just a good piece to have there for the rest of the season. Again, whether he gets rerouted to another team, we'll find out. But from the Wizards' perspective, it's a good trade, certainly in the short term. They have plenty of cap space to They have plenty of cap space to extend Trae Young. I mean, again, he's on a player option. Does he opt into it? Does he opt out of it? We'll find out in the offseason. Does he get the extension sooner than later? We have to see how he actually plays, because the rumor mill is that he will not play for the Wizards, or he just will not play often for the Wizards. So we'll see what happens there, certainly. Yeah, I think for the Wizards, it's the Wizards win the trade, absolutely. They traded pretty much nothing to get Trae Young. You gave up no draft picks, and I really like the idea of Trae Young and Trae Johnson in the backcourt. I like the pick and pop, pick and roll opportunities for Alex Sarr, as well as throwing him some lobs. I love the idea of what that can be. He's certainly, to me at least, more athletic than the big men that Trae Young's played with in his career. Guys like Kristaps Porzingis, Clint Capella, Onyeka Okongwu. He's certainly more athletic than all of those guys, and he's young. I think he's also the youngest guy that Trae Young is going to play with from the big man position. So I love that for them. And also, again, young guys like Bilal Coulibaly, Kaishan George, other guys, a bunch of other young guys. You got Will Riley over there in the G League. A lot of young guys on this Wizards team that will benefit from having a guy like Trae Young in the locker room. And I'm a Trae Young guy as well. I haven't been bashing him. I've been kind of upset the way he's been bashed over the past couple of years, because I think he's one of the best point guards in the NBA. Granted, he makes bonehead decisions and he doesn't always play great. He doesn't play defense. Actually, can't say he doesn't play great defense. He doesn't play defense. So I don't know. I like to trade for both sides. Realistically, Hawks, absolutely. It shows how low value Trae Young had, and I honestly think that's partially due to the organization more than it is Trae Young. But it is what it is. The Wizards get to go into the trade. Can't even say Trae Young era. Trae Young's 27. He probably won't be a long-term piece. I mean, the Wizards can pay him what he wants and then maybe trade him when these young guys really start to develop, or whatever the case is there. I don't see Trae Young being a long-term piece with the Wizards, as was pointed out by several people on social media. And then, again, for the Hawks, you could build around Jalen Johnson, try to build defensive identity around him, and kind of this season is just a trial to see what Jalen Johnson can further be as a number one option. He's been the number one option all year, but knowing he is the guy, what can be done there? So that's my thoughts on the Trae Young trade, and I'm ready. Let's get into it. New Japan Pro Wrestling. We got a lot to talk about, and I gotta say, once again, I stayed up to watch the show. So, what is it, 1:30? The show came on. Actually, I woke up at 1:30 when it said the show was, and the show was already on. I missed one match, which was the Young Lions having a little bit of a scrimmage, a little bit of a match there. So I did miss that match. Shout out to Katsuya Murashima. Shout out to the Young Lion Cup coming back. I'm actually really excited to watch the Young Lion Cup and see these guys. I think all these young lions are super promising, and I'm just excited to follow all of them. I think Murashima and Shomakato should easily be going on an excursion. I'm not going to get ahead of myself because we're going to talk about the Young Lions in a little bit, but stayed up 2 o'clock. The show officially came on. I was up to was it 5:30, 6:30? I think I was up to maybe 6:30, close to 6:30 watching the show. Fell asleep in the last match, so I missed the Tanahashi Okada match, which is insane because that was one of the better matches on the night. To start, before I thankfully I don't have notes, so I can just talk about the show here. I did enjoy the show. A lot of people agreed, and pardon me because, again, this show happened last Sunday, and I'm talking about it on Friday. This episode will come out on Saturday. So I have had about a week to sit with it. We saw New Year's Dash. We've seen some rumblings of things to happen. We've seen all the people speculating online. We've seen all the conversations online, things from New Japan. We've seen a bunch of stuff come out since. So pardon me when I say that the top half of the show wasn't amazing. And really, you say that from a booking perspective. If Gato is still the booker, once again, he needs to be ousted as the booker. They need to go in a different direction. But I will say that coming out of Wrestle Kingdom and coming out of New Year's Dash specifically, New Japan did a fantastic job at showing who the next guys are going to be coming up and really putting a big focus on those guys. So let's get into the show. So again, the pre-show tag match between the Young Lions, it was Tatsuya Murashima, Masatoru Yasuda against Shomakato and Tatsuya Matsumoto. It looks like it was 6 minutes. And I should also say, I am reading this on cagematch.net. Shout out to Cage Match. I've started to really lock into their website. I have over the past couple years. If you don't know, cagematch.net is a wrestling website. Everything wrestling, for however many years you can think about it. They've got it all. All the companies, all the matches, all the events, the star ratings, this and that. They've got it all on the website. Shout out to cagematch.net and everything they do over there. So, yeah, the first match that I saw was El Phantasmo and Chris Brooks, and I won't lie, I was halfway paying attention to it. It wasn't a match I cared too much about. Again, don't understand the hate that El Phantasmo and Chris Brooks are getting from the wider audience, and it's so weird because there's a side of social media that likes both of these guys, and then there's a side that doesn't. Divisive. That's the world we live in. Divisive. But I gotta say, shout out to El Phantasmo. He gets the win, 11:48. It was rated. I'm not gonna read the star ratings for all these matches. I'm not gonna read the star ratings. It was a match that happened. They did some stuff. I'm now aware of Chris Brooks and what he does in ring, but I was surprised it was on the pre-show, that they put this match on the pre-show, but it is what it is. We headed to the main card, and looking at the star rating, hilarious. Never openweight 6-man tag team title Rambo match. So 8 teams of 3 competing for the never openweight title. I'm just going to go straight to the end. The winner of the match ended up being TMDK, Hartley Jackson, Ryohei Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. So, I was excited when I saw that. My boys getting the win, which I don't think was my prediction. I know I said that my hope was that they would win, but my prediction was not that they would win. I did say, and I remember saying that, House of Torture, and I think I was giving Kaisei Takeshi, Shota Umino, and Yuya Uemura that, or maybe I said Bishamon and Bolton Oleg. Nevertheless, it was a match that happened. Rambos are usually pretty messy in New Japan, and this one wasn't great. I think the 6-man aspect really throws it. It makes it weird. This match was 20 minutes long, and I think a big reason, at least for me, that this match was what it was is whenever one member of the team gets eliminated, the whole team gets eliminated, which is a nice way of kind of protecting guys. Like, for instance, when you look at the Kaisei Takeshi, Shota Umino, Yuya Uemura team, all 3 of those guys are top names. Obviously, from the New Japan perspective, it's Umino and Yuya. But from a global from a country perspective, it's Kaisei Takeshi, who's the biggest star of that team. So, I don't know. It's a weird situation. I probably would have liked to see the regular elimination method where it's just one after the other and we see what happens. Even them doing that and maybe saying on New Year's Dash we'll do the 6-man, we'll have a match for the 6-man titles, could have also just been a fun way to do it. Or maybe once we had the final 2 teams, whoever's left from those teams, we're just going to have a match. So it could have been a fun way to maybe have a 2-on-1 situation a one-on-one situation, doing variations where you could add some cool stuff, had some cool matches at the very end. You could have gave the fans Zack Sabre Jr. and Hiroki Goto, which I'm sure people would have wanted to see. So that could have been a fun way to do the Rambo, certainly. But we end with Hartley Jackson, Oiwa, and ZSJ getting the win for TMDK. Super happy about that. Super happy Hartley Jackson gets his first title. Same with Oiwa. Both guys getting their first titles in New Japan as a result of this match. So I enjoyed the outcome. The match was just kind of what it was. IWGP Women's as well as New Japan Strong Women's title match. Shiori, the IWGP Women's Champion, taking on Saya Kamatani, the Strong Women's Champion. This was a good match. It got 12 minutes, which I think I did either say or I tweeted. Give them at least 12 to 15. And they gave them 12. So I take that. They went out there and killed it. I think a lot of people said Saya Kamatani dominated the match. I felt more that Shiori did, and rightfully so. So Shiori gets the win, and I think a shocker. Some people called it an upset. I would not use the word upset as much as it's just crazy that happened. That Shiori got the win, especially when you consider Kamatani just won the Tokyo Sports MVP. She's also going into a match again where she is the World of Stardom champion. She's defending against the Starlight Kid first. She's also got a bunch of other challengers stepping up to the plate to potentially wrestle her. Again, Natsupoi and Sayuri, was it Ano, who are two women that are definitely going to be in the hunt this year. You got Micah. We're going to talk a lot about Stardom, and I didn't get to talk about them because I wanted to do a recap of the Stardom end of year show and how awesome it was. But Stardom has a lot of top names right now that are going to be vying for that red belt this year. And we have to keep an eye out for Stardom this year. We're going to do a lot of talking about Stardom this year. Hopefully. I say that now on what is this, January 9th? We don't know that. But the match was dope. To this point was the match of the night and would kind of remain that way for a little bit. But shout out to Shiori, and it's going to be interesting to see where Saya Kamatani goes. She did put out a tweet after this saying that she's going away for about, I think, 2 weeks. At least she's going away into her title match against Starlight Kid to, I guess, rehab a little bit. So rehab injuries, some nagging injuries. So to that point, it's not surprising to see Shiori as the champ to win the title, but it's also super dope to see Shiori as the champion because she's awesome. And it'll just be fun to see her, in CMLL, to see her in AEW again because she did have that vignette last year that never came to fruition. So we'll see what happens there. 10-man tag team match. It was not a cage match as I thought it was, just a regular schmoz. 13 minutes. It was the team of the United Empire against the team of Bullet Club, War Dogs, and the Unaffiliated. So, Unaffiliated, what is their team name? They actually have a new team name. We're going to talk about that. Bullet Club, War Dogs, Unaffiliated being represented by David Finlay, Drilla Maloney, Gabe Kidd, Hiromu Takahashi, and Shingo Takagi, taking on the United Empire team of Andrade El Idolo, Callum Newman, Great Khan, Henare, and once you know it, Jake Lee. Jake Lee makes his return to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and if you've been listening to this podcast for the past year, I've been predicting Jake Lee to come back at the most randomest moments. Whenever there's been a quote-unquote X or a booking decision where a person needs a partner, I've been predicting Jake Lee to come back, and this one time I didn't do it, and here he is, Jake Lee. And it's crazy because I started seeing it the day of, a couple hours before Wrestle Kingdom. I started seeing people talking about Jake Lee coming back. So there we are. Here we are. Jake Lee. I think did he get the win? I want to say Jake Lee got the win for his team. United Empire gets the win. It was a fun schmoz. Everybody got their stuff in. And yeah, as a result, we see it later in the show. Jake Lee's got his eyes on some gold, and we'll talk about that a little later here. But yeah, it was a fun match. Everybody got their stuff in. And fully establishing a new empire, no pun intended, for the United Empire. I was going to say a new era for the United Empire. And I'm super excited to see what they ultimately end up doing. Let me be careful because I'm clicking a lot of buttons on my phone. We don't want to press the wrong button. Next match we're going to talk about is for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. And I got to say, this was very much not the match it should have been. It was 7 minutes as well, by the way, as I'm looking at the 7 minutes and 35 seconds. El Desperado gets the win. It was El Desperado against Kosei Fujita, against Sho, against Taiji Ishimori. And I remember saying, my thought is it's going to be Desperado because we're going to get Desperado and Doki, but my heart wanted to see Kosei Fujita get that moment. And yeah, Desperado got the win, and not surprised. I think to this point, I'm pretty good with my predictions as well for matches. I think the only match thus far, and you can correct me on social media if I'm wrong, but I think Kamatani is the one I got wrong. Same with technically TMDK getting the win. But yeah, Desperado gets the win. It was an odd match because Kanemaru got involved as well and kind of interfered. And then we had a moment where all the partners came out. Robbie Eagles came out. Robbie X came out. And Kukai came out. I was super surprised to see Kukai back in New Japan. So that's shout out to him getting that Wrestle Kingdom payday. And subsequently New Year's Dash, because this match set up a match for the IWGP Junior Tag titles on New Year's Dash, which was super awesome. And I think it was a pretty good match, all things considered. I don't quite remember it, but it was a pretty good match, all things considered. Also, I gotta say this now. I did make a list of my favorite matches and favorite wrestlers of 2025. I really do want to talk about it. So that might be coming in soon this month. If I don't talk about it this month, it is what it is. But like, I really wanted to talk about it, so I kind of will at some point. So the match happened and also sets up Desperado and Doki on the New Beginning Tour. We'll get to that when we get to that, but that is a match that was also set up for the never openweight title. It is the champion Evil against the challenger Aaron Wolf, and I will say that the next, this match and the match after, this match got, what the heck? I just saw the star ratings for the main event. That's insane. The crowd was kind of, social media was in an uproar saying that this Wrestle Kingdom was not what it should have been. I gotta also say that a lot of fans don't like El Desperado as well, which is weird. And again, we live in multiple different worlds on social media. We're all different people. We can all have different opinions. A lot of people don't like El Desperado, apparently. And it's kind of his booking, the fact that he's been booked as the top guy, but we also wanted him to be the top guy at one point, so it's odd. But I think it's the fact that he keeps getting in these opportunities, which I can understand. We want to see guys in top opportunities, but not all the time. And Kosei Fujita will get his opportunity. I've come to grips with that. Hopefully next year at Wrestle Kingdom, he wins the IWGP Junior title, if not before that, hopefully. So we'll see what happens there. But never open weight time. This match was really good. And I will say, went to the bathroom. I think, did Evil make his entrance first? I think it was. I think Evil made his entrance first. I don't know. Something happened. They did the hype for the match. Went to the bathroom. I made it back in the room at the time when Aaron Wolf was making his entrance. He came out with the hood on, the judo fit on. He pulls off the hood and he has a bald head. If you don't know, again, young lions have to shave their head when they're in the dojo. He shaved his head and he takes off the gi and he is, can I say this? I can say this endearingly because a lot of people have said it on social media. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. Pause. That sounded crazy, but I said it anyway. Aaron Wolf is a man. He is a man, and he had a match. That was a fun match. He showed that he's put in the work, keeps the judo influence in there. He put in the work. He's been working in the dojo. He's got a lot to go, a lot of room to go. I think there was a lot of kind of disconnect in the match. Maybe he got winded. I think he might have gotten a little winded in the match a couple times. There were moments where he's kind of just staring at Evil, laying on the ground a lot longer than maybe he should have been. So I think he got winded during the match, but again, that's my assessment of the moment. But I really did enjoy that match. It was definitely one of my favorite matches of the night. Probably number 2 favorite match of the night. And Aaron Wolf actually won. Surprisingly, they gave the young lion the never openweight title. And I think that graduates him from being a young lion, technically. I mean, he is a young lion, but I think he immediately wins the title, and that takes him out of it. We saw that with Bolton Oleg. The minute he won the 6-man titles a couple years ago, I think it was 2 years ago now, he immediately was no longer a young lion. So we'll see what that means for Aaron Wolf. He did compete on New Year's Dash. His next opponent will be Ren Narita, also a member of House of Torture. So he's getting very lucky with his first 2 matches as a member of the New Japan roster. IWGP World Heavyweight Title / IWGP Global Heavyweight Title match. The champion of the IWGP perspective World Heavyweight side, Konosuke Takeshi taking on the challenger Global Heavyweight Champion Yota Tsuji. And this was a great match. 29-20 it went. I was locked in the entire match. It did not feel as long as it did. These guys did they gave me exactly what I thought they were going to give me. And the winner, I don't have notes about what happened in the match, but the winner, Yota Tsuji, winning both titles, winning with a Boston Crab, which I love that he uses this match. It kind of takes it back to the roots for New Japan. And it's going to be a big deal when somebody overcomes this Boston Crab by Yota Tsuji right now. So I'm super dope, super excited for Tsuji in this title run. As we will see on New Year's Dash, he did some things with these 2 titles. Main event of the night, Kazuchika Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi, last time is now. Last match ever. Tanahashi's retirement match. My goodness. It was a match. I fell asleep. But what I saw about the match, it was good. It was worth the main event spot. Tanahashi did his thing. And if nothing else, the emotion of the match was absolutely there. Crowd was super invested. Okada being a complete dickhead for the majority of the match. And then in the closing stretch of the match, what even happened? I think he might have hit a Rainmaker. He hit a Rainmaker, or he hit some move on Tanahashi, and he finally hits the Rainmaker pose without doing the middle finger. He hits the traditional pose, picks Tanahashi up, Rainmaker, 1, 2, 3. That's the end of the match. Tanahashi went on a freaking tear, though, during that match. He did a lot of dope stuff in his last match. So I woke up, I think, right towards the end of the match, if not the end of the match. So yeah, man, these guys did their freaking thing. Shout out to both guys there. And really, it's the post match that really got me. It's really the post match. I'm looking because I ordered some food. I'm just trying to see what they got going on. Yeah, okay, yeah, we're cool, we're safe. It was the post match because right after, and I said this, and I said I'm not gonna watch the ceremony that they're allegedly doing for Tanahashi. I don't care. I'll find out what happened. And then the first person's music hit, and it was Jay White. Jay White was the first guy to show up to give Tanahashi his flowers. If you don't know, in Japan, typically, when it's a retirement, they have people come out and give the person retiring some flowers, and they take a photo, that kind of deal, right in the middle of the ring. So first time I've actually seen it happen. So Jay White comes out first. Huge moment, because if you don't know, Jay White was banned from New Japan. In story, he was banned from Japan. He's banned from New Japan. So the fact that he makes his return here was a big deal, especially because he has a lot of history with Tanahashi. They had a great relationship, and it was super dope to see Jay White. Tanahashi was absolutely distraught like this whole time with all these people coming out. So Jay White was the first one. What did we get? I think Will Ospreay was second. Then the Golden Lovers come out, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. And it's crazy because Kota Ibushi wasn't supposed to be there, apparently. He wasn't invited to the show. He didn't even have a ticket. I think that they gave him a ticket based off of just who he was. And people, they liked the fact that he showed up. They were happy to have him, but he wasn't necessarily invited. And he makes his entrance. And I got to say this as well. Shout out to Kota Ibushi, because this man tore, what is the thing? His femur or something of that nature. He tore it 2 months ago, and he's walking around with no crutches. He made the walk down the long rampway with Kenny Omega, mind you, but no crutch, limping down this walkway 2 months ago, tearing his femur. Femur. Shout out to Kota Ibushi, man. That was insane to see. Next up, we get, I'm blanking, because the four of them came out, and I'm trying to think about time. It really doesn't matter, because I was going to try to do it in order. I'm missing somebody. We know Keiji Muto came out. Tatsumi Fujinami came out. They also made their entrance. They came in the ring. Tanahashi gets the moment. I don't know if it was before it or after, but Kazuyori Shibata came out. And this was my favorite one, for sure. So Shibata is, well documented. Him and Tanahashi are friends now, but they've had the history. They had the rivalry. So it's super dope to see this moment happen between these two guys. So Shibata, comes out. He's fingers in his ears. He's covering his ears. And I don't know if it was the fact, maybe the cheers of the fans, because he's a bad guy in AEW currently. I don't know if it's the fact he was announced from AEW, but he had his, fingers in his ear, didn't want to hear the crap after the entrance. After the announcer finished, he's, kind of storms down to the ring. And again, before you get in the ring, the people on the outside, they were pretty much members of Hantai. I said Hantai. Yes, I did. Pretty much on the outside of the ring, there's a little staircase that, or steel steps that the guys, climb up to get into the ring. So Shibata gets there, they give him the flowers, and he immediately, knocks the stairs out the way and gets in the wrestler's way. Middle rope, doing the whole spiel, and he just aggressively walks up to Tanahashi and gives him the flowers, and he whispers something to Tana. And as soon as Tanahashi takes the flowers, Shibata takes off his shirt, Tanahashi throws down the flowers, and they freaking lock up, bro. And the crowd went mental. I actually teared up here. I didn't tear up the whole time, really, but this very much made me tear up, seeing that they locked up, they released the lockup, and they go, back and forth, 2 times with a couple of chops, and then they deep embrace, and then Shibata just leaves the ring. He doesn't stay for a photo. He leaves the ring. No nonsense. Didn't care. I think this was the most distraught that Tanahashi was during any of the ceremony. Like literally, as soon as he heard the music, he like turns towards the ropes, turns away from the entranceway and is bawling his eyes out at the fact that Shibata's here. Because I would like to think he didn't know some of the people that were going to come out for him. Also would have loved to see Shinsuke Nakamura show up. Fuck you, WWE, for not doing it, not allowing him to be there. But would have loved to see Shinsuke there because that would have absolutely been an insane moment in the Tokyo Dome to see that. So, and it could have been done. I don't want to hear the arguments for it couldn't have been done. They could have done it. It's just WWE being WWE. And then, yeah, I thought that was it, right? We had those last couple people, whatever the case. I thought that was it. Damn, is my food on its way? That's a shame. Trust me, if I gotta wrap this episode up, we will wrap this episode up. You know, my food is coming soon. Anyway, the match ends. One last entrance on the night. Apparently, Tetsuya Naito makes his return, not as an active competitor, but makes his return with Bushi to give Tanahashi's flowers. Now, granted, it took him a long time to actually get down to the ring, but he got there. He eventually got there. And, yeah. That was just another thing, and pretty much Tanahashi pretty much told him, like, you know, you're welcome back, the door will always be open. Naito pretty much says he's not coming back unless one guy isn't there, and it's essentially Gato, and yeah. So that was New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom. It was a fun show, especially the last 3 matches. It ended up being better towards the tail end, which essentially saved the show. New Year's Dash, though. Here we are. A lot of matches that set up some things for the future. 6-man tag match. Satoshi Kojima, Tomohiro Ishii. Wait, 6-man? Satoshi Kojima, Taichi, and Tomohiro Ishii taking on Katsuya, Murashima, Shota Umino, and Yuya Uemura. I really enjoyed this match. I'll say the first 2 matches of this show I really enjoyed, and the big reason for that match is I loved the fire from Katsuya Murashima and Shoma Kato in these first 2 matches. It showed that these guys, and actually I can't even say just them, Umino and Yuya also brought a crazy fire to the 6-man tag. That was super fun to see, and it shows that these guys are taking it seriously right now, taking it seriously, the retirement of Tanahashi in this new era that we're in the direction we're going in, as they brought it to Ishii, Taichi, and Kojima. And naturally, 150, Team 150 as they're being called, gets the win. I think that's their age, which is why they're being called Team 150, by the way. They get the win, pinning Murashima. I'm pretty sure Ishii pinned Murashima with a deep Boston Crab, I'm pretty sure. But I love that for Murashima, showing a crazy fire, and this match circles back around later on in the night. Next match was the Don Callis families, Konosuke Takeshita and Rocky Romero, taking on El Phantasmo and Shoma Kato. Same deal. Kato showing a crazy fire. He was upset that he lost at Wrestle Kingdom on the pre-show. He gets into it with Takeshita, singled out Takeshita, by the way, but ultimately got handled, and that happened where it happened. 6-man tag match following up Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, and Boltin Oleg, or Oleg Boltin, whatever they want to call him, taking on House of Tortures, Sanada, Kanemaru, and Yujiro Takahashi. As we have now been aware, Sanada is currently indefinitely gone from New Japan, at least on a leave of absence, more than his contract expiring or leaving the company. We don't know the circumstances surrounding it, but he's currently on leave of absence without a timetable for a return, so it's odd. He came out with a guitar that had like I don't even know what you call that anymore, to be honest, but something saying he was pretty much gone. This was the end of his New Japan time, and fittingly enough, they did lose the match anyway. And it looks like the team of Bishamon and Oleg Boltin Oleg, whatever you want to call them, are going to be a fixture in the 6-man division. I do believe they're challenging for the 6-man titles next, so that'll be fun to see. We get another 6-man tag match between the United Empires, Andrade El Idolo, Francesco Akira, and Jacob Austin Young, taking on Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd, and we also had Hiromu Takahashi in this match. United Empire does get the win, and it sets up a couple more matches for the New Beginning Tour. We get Andrade and Gabe Kidd going at it. We also have Francesco Akira, and I don't think it was set up here. Yeah, Francesco Akira's going after Hiromu and Taiji Ishimori. That was set up later in the show, but it is something that we will be seeing. Any further details on this match? Later on in the show, we did get announced the naming of the faction between the United Empire. Not United Empire. The naming of the faction between the unaffiliated and the Bullet Club War Dogs, which is... I don't remember. something. I don't remember the name of the team. I'm not even going to lie to you and tell you I wrote it down and remember it. I don't remember it, so I'll tell you on the next episode. 8-man tag. Aaron Wolf, Master Wato, Toriano, and Yo taking on the team of House of Tortures, Dick Togo, Don Fale, Evil, and Ren Narita. The match ends. I don't know who got the win in the match or who got the pin or submission or maybe DQ. I don't know. But it was an 8-man tag that sets up Aaron Wolf and Ren Narita. They absolutely beat the crap out of Aaron Wolf in the post-match. And yeah, it sets up Ren Narita and Aaron Wolf. 8-man tag match. Again, United Empire. Callum Newman, Great O'Khan, Hanare, and Jake Lee taking on the War Dogs / affiliated team of David Finlay, Drilla Maloney, Shingo Takagi, and Yoda Tsuji. Tsuji comes out sporting the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. The original, or the one that we're very much familiar with. So, he made it clear in a post press conference after the show, I believe it was, or the day after the show, something of that nature. The IWGP Heavyweight Championship will be pretty much only defended to Japan. It is once again the world title. Everyone that held the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, kind of the title that Tsuji was challenging for going into Wrestle Kingdom, will be acknowledged as champions in the IWGP lineage, IWGP Heavyweight lineage, which is something, again, Tsuji was trying to bring back, which is why I predicted Takeshita to beat Tsuji. Tsuji won, and he got his wish. And as a result, the global title is still around, but that will be the kind of title that will be defended internationally. And Tsuji also said that the IWGP title will not be defended, I think he said internationally as well. But he said if it's not in the main event, he will not be there. He will boycott it. And obviously, a lot of the stuff he's saying in character, but I do believe it to be true in some regards. And the New Japan office probably does want to really have these things be set in place. Sorry, trying to find the word. But more matches set in place after this. Great O'Khan and Hanare will be taking on Drilla Maloney and Shingo Takagi. That will be a tag match we're going to see on the New Beginning Tour. David Finlay and Callum Newman will also be something. Jake Lee at the end of Wrestle Kingdom, I forgot to say this, at the end of the world title match at Wrestle Kingdom, attacked Yoda Tsuji, stealing his moment. So we will see, again, New Beginning Tour more than likely, Jake Lee and Yoda Tsuji for the title. Maybe. We'll see. I think it will happen, but we'll see. Also, United Empire is kind of in the ring, having a little bit of a moment, and then Will Ospreay comes out and pretty much apologizes to Callum Newman, saying, you're my little brother. I love you. I'm sorry I left, but when I'm back from this injury, I'm going to take care of what I got to take care of in AEW, and I'm going to come back to New Japan, and I'll do what you want to do. You're the leader. We'll do what you want to do. So everybody celebrates. All the members in the ring for United Empire kind of throw up the sign to the crowd, except for Callum Newman. He takes the step back, he grabs the chair, and he's about to hit Ospreay with the chair, but Hanare and Great O'Khan stop him from doing it. Jake Lee's just kind of there. He doesn't know the hand signal. He's just kind of hanging out there. Ospreay acknowledges everybody in the ring, but Jake Lee. Maybe that'll be a little nugget for the future. But it looks like we're going to get Callum Newman and Will Ospreay in the very near future. Some people are arguing for Wrestle Kingdom next year, which I think is a great direction to go in to fully establish Callum Newman as that guy. So we'll see what happens there. So I was talking about the match there, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title match. So this might sound a little weird. I'm talking about the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title match. Ichiban Sweet Boys get the win. Ichiban Sweet Boys, Fujita and Eagles taking on the Bullet Club War Dogs, Robbie X, Taiji Ishimori, taking on the champions of House of Torture, Doki and Sho, and the other challengers of El Desperado and Kukai. It was only 7 minutes. I thought it should have been longer, which is probably why I don't remember the match, because it was that quick. But yeah, Ichiban Sweet Boys get the win in what was hopefully going to be a great night for TMDK. Big win last night or the night before at Wrestle Kingdom, getting a big win here on New Year's Dash. And then the main event is IWGP Tag Team title match. The Knockout Brothers, Oscar, Yuto Ice taking on the challengers of Ryohei Oiwa, Zack Sabre Jr. They are the reigning World Tag League winners. So, again, this is a match I was excited for, because I'm a fan of TMDK's Oiwa and ZSJ, fan of TMDK, period. Also, recently become more of a fan of Oscar and Yuto because they do put on great performances. Yeah, I did not expect this match to be this good. This was a great match, and all guys did their thing. I am so happy that the crowd is getting behind Ryohei Oiwa properly now, especially after this performance, where this has been probably his best performance in New Japan, or returning to New Japan from his excursion. This has probably been his best performance. So Big shout out to him. He looked like an absolute demon. A lot of people have said that Yuto Ice might be the guy to bring out that killer instinct in all of the next generation. Oiwa, Yuya, Shota. He's clearly brought out a lot in these guys already. And it's going to be interesting to see what else he can bring out of the other couple guys. So that's that. So the match happened. The winner of the match is the Knockout Brothers, which immediately put to bed the idea that they were going to go to WWE, which was kind of the idea that was presented. Their contracts were running out. Well, apparently New Japan extended them. And I do got to give a big shout out. Big ups. Big ups. Shout out to Yuto Ice. One of the probably only times we'll really say them on this podcast. But now I'm turning around to his idea. I hate the character, but I'm turning around to him as a wrestler. Big ups. As Knockout Brothers get the win and banger match. I think, did it happen first? I'm not sure if it happened first or not. But after the match, we do get Umino and Yuya Uemura coming out, which, yeah, I love Yuya. Big fan of Yuya. I think he's fantastic. The Umino experiment isn't working, and it's not working for anybody, pretty much. But once again, they're challenging for the tag titles. But also, Taichi and Ishii come out to stake a rematch claim. So we're going to have Taichi and Ishii taking on Yuya and Umino during the beginning tour. We're going to then have the winner of that match taking on the champions of Oscar and Yuto. So I got to end this segment, New Japan segment, by giving a big shout out again to Yuto. He cut an electric promo after this match, kind of talking about New Japan, the state of New Japan, this new era, talking about them as a team and the roster and the fans. He cut the promo. If you haven't, if you can, go to Twitter, go somewhere, go to YouTube, go to Twitter, try to listen to this promo and hear what this man said. This man silenced all the doubters that he's leaving New Japan. Yeah, that was phenomenal. It got me ready to, the commentator said it best, it got me ready to run through a brick wall the way he talked. I can't do it justice. You have to go listen to the video. He absolutely sold this new generation and this new era for New Japan, and I'm super excited to see what they do as a team. And I guess what he does. I'll give him some credit there, what he does. So, yeah, that was New Japan Pro Wrestling New Year's Dash as well. And we do have to talk about... Okay, again, I gotta say this. It cut off twice, my app, and I'm so glad that I'm at the tail end because I would have given up on this episode for sure. The last thing we're going to talk about, and New Japan was done, thankfully, so we were done with that, the NFL playoffs. And because of the fear of this shutting off again, I guess I'm just going to give you guys my predictions for kind of who wins. If we talk about briefly, no, I'm just going to do it, bro. We just going to talk about it because we got it. I got 7 minutes till my food comes too, so you guys are going to get these last 7 minutes. There were my predictions for the AFC and NFC, and then what actually happened. So, do I have it written down that way? I don't. So my predictions going into the season were the Ravens being number 1, the Chiefs being number 2, the Bills being number 3, the Jags number 4, the Chargers 5, Texans 6, and then the Steelers at 7. In the NFC, it was the Eagles at 1, Packers 2, Niners at 3, the Bucks at 4, Commanders at 5, the Lions at 6, and then the Rams at 7. Clearly, that didn't happen that same way. If I can kind of remember really quickly, the Ravens and Chiefs didn't make the playoffs, so we're wrong there. And then in the NFC, we did not see the Bucks or the Commanders or the Lions make the playoffs for that matter. So we're wrong. I think it was at 5 out of 14, if I'm not mistaken. 5 out of 14 teams do not make the playoffs. So good percentage there. We still get it right, but not completely right. So the brackets are announced, and I'm going to read you guys the brackets of what will be actually taking place in the first round, if my laptop wants to do this the right way. So the first round, again, the wildcard round. So the Broncos and Seahawks do get first round buys. They are the number 1 seeds in their divisions. Did not predict either of these teams to make the playoffs, but here they are. As a result, the first round or wild card weekend matchups are as follows. It would be the number 2 seed, New England Patriots, taking on the number 7 seed, the Los Angeles Chargers. We've got the number 3 seed, the Jacksonville Jaguars, taking on the number 6 seeded Buffalo Bills. The number 4 seeded Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the number 5 seeded Houston Texans. On the other side of the ball in the NFC, we've got the number 2 seeded Chicago Bears taking on the Green Bay Packers at number 7. The number 3 seeded Philadelphia Eagles fly, taking on the number 6 seeded San Francisco 49ers. And then the number 4 seeded Carolina Panthers taking on the number 5 seeded Los Angeles Rams. Those are your playoff matchups to this point, as Wildcard Weekend will be starting the day this episode drops. So we will be talking about it surely as the off season progresses. And again, I really do want to do a long breakdown of the playoffs, and I guess I'll briefly try to do it, but I'm going to say this right now. If it cuts off, it cut off, and there will not be another extension to this video. So I'm going to try to do a little bit more here, but if it cuts off again, it cuts off, and I'm done with this episode. This episode is going to drop. With that being said, before we do that, thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the podcast. Thank you guys. Episode 101. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Nas Kaleem. That is NAASKALEEM. Instagram and Twitter. If you go to Instagram, go to the link tree. You can get the list there of all the different ways you can follow me and support me. Again, this podcast, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and YouTube currently. We got a Twitch page that we're gonna get into eventually. We got merch that we want to start pushing. We got a lot of dope stuff that I hope you guys do support. Find the time to support, as I think I have hair in my mouth somewhere. Can't find it. Nevertheless, I'm going to talk about the NFL a little bit longer, and we'll see if this episode cuts out. So, I just want to say the keys, I guess, for every team. Sam Darnold for the Seahawks is the big key. He struggled last year in the postseason. Had a great year with the Vikings, had a terrible postseason. This is his redemption opportunity. If he falls short, that will be the reason why for the Seahawks. For the Bears, Caleb Williams, in what I believe is technically his first play. There it is. I got the piece of hair out of my mouth. In what I do believe to be his first playoff appearance. If opposing defenses get pressure on Caleb Williams and do not give him the chance to play at the level that he has played this year, the Bears will not go far. Also, if Caleb Williams tries to play hero ball and doesn't just try to be efficient and check down and do what he has to do, the Bears don't stand a chance. The Eagles, look, I'm not even going to be biased in saying it, man. This team hasn't been phenomenal. I haven't been super impressed with us this year. We are capable of big things, but again, the quarterback play is probably one of the big things there. If Jalen Hurts can play like the Super Bowl MVP we saw last season, the Eagles have a phenomenal chance. But if the defense can get to him and cause him to make rash decisions at the line, then there's, again, a strong chance there. The Carolina Panthers, they're out in the first round. Bryce Young, they got lucky to make it. It was like a 3-team tie in the division to make the playoffs. They got lucky there. They made the playoffs. It happened. They probably won't go far. Bryce Young has to play out of his mind to get them in the playoffs. The Los Angeles Rams, inconsistency at the wrong time, essentially. Like, Matthew Stafford's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. They got a very good receiving, running game. They have a good offensive game, and the defense is capable of disrupting, absolutely. Despite that, inconsistencies throughout the year with this team will be the big reason, and an inconsistency at a time like this will take you out of the Super Bowl chase. The Niners, injuries have certainly derailed this team. If you get pressure on Brock Purdy, you've got the chance to win. And so again, quarterback pressure, if you make Brock Purdy make bad throws and bad reads on offense at the line of scrimmage, you've got the chance to win. Again, this team is very much hurt. They have they had a respectable defense, but they had an NFL low 20 sacks this past season. If you can't put pressure on the quarterback, you're not really going to get a win, especially here in the playoffs. So the Packers, for them, it's, what are we looking at here with the Packers, man? What did I write for the Packers? Yeah, I mean, they're going to rely on Josh Jacobs and Jordan Love. The health of Jordan Love is obviously a big question. He had a concussion earlier in the year, and he missed time with that. He's played at an MVP level, though, when he was healthy. And then Josh Jacobs, who's clearly capable of taking over the game. Again, a young offense and above-average defense. This Packers team can be very good. But I do think an over-reliance on Josh Jacobs will be a thing that causes them maybe in this first round here in the wild card. We go to the AFC, and for them, really for Denver, for New England, for a lot of teams here, it's kind of the playoff inexperience at quarterback. Now, pardon me, I don't remember if the Broncos made the playoffs last year, but I think the defense for the Broncos is good enough to hold up. They have a championship level defense, certainly, but when the games matter most, can the rest of their pieces really step up? I think, what's his name? Who's their quarterback? Bo Nix has been good for them, certainly, this year. but they struggled down the stretch, especially with that defense. It did actually struggle, and the offensive chemistry is a little shaky at times. So inconsistency once again, and team chemistry can prove to be the downfall for the Broncos. And again, you look at the Patriots here. It's again quarterback inexperience, playoff inexperience. Drake May, second year quarterback here in the playoffs, playing I believe a tough Chargers team. Yeah, I don't think I have either of the Patriots nor the Broncos making it past their first game because of the inexperience. Yes, the Patriots have a lot of experience playoff wise on defense, or maybe scattered throughout the team, but I think if Drake May can't make the right reads, they're going to struggle to put points on the board. The Jags have a fantastic team as well. I mean, that's really it. They've been one of the most impressive teams this year, especially down the stretch here going to the playoffs. I think they've been the hottest team in football going to the playoffs here. The run game is going to be a big thing for them. Can Travis Etienne have an outstanding run? Because you know what you're going to get from Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence and Josh Allen's going to be a battle. We'll talk about Josh Allen in a minute because that Buffalo team is very interesting. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence is going to do his thing. It's really just going to be on the rest of the team to see if they can stack up and do what they got to do. The Steelers made it. The Steelers made it. I don't think they wanted to. The team isn't great to make a deep playoff run. You know what you're going to get from Aaron Rodgers. He's 12-10 in the postseason. Really, the key is going to be getting DK Metcalf started early and often if they want a chance to get the win. But do they even want to get the win? We'll find out. Houston Texans, another team that was super hot. Is also just super hot down the stretch here coming into the playoffs. Again, one of the hottest teams in football. The offense has started to find its groove at the right time heading to the postseason. But again, inconsistency and inexperience on offense might prove to be their Achilles heel. The O-line also needs to do their best to keep CJ Stroud upright. Stroud played well, I think in the playoffs, a couple years ago. I think the O-line has to keep him upright, letting him have the time to make the proper reads. And if he can do that, the Texans have a great shot at going far. The Buffalo Bills, I will just say, spoiler alert, are my pick to make it to the AFC. To make it to the Super Bowl and to win the AFC. I don't think there's a big question, for me at least there. They have the most experience out of anybody in this field at getting to that point, or at least getting to the championship game. And the field's kind of wide open. I think the NFC is going to be a dogfight, and I think the AFC is wide open. I have the Bills being the big one there. So I think Josh Allen's going to do Josh Allen things. If Josh Allen struggles, this team can only go as far as Josh Allen takes them. If they get pressure on Josh Allen early and he's making bad plays and he's trying to do it all himself, the Bills will lose. If Allen can get help from the rest of this team, they got a great shot to go far. And then the Chargers, it's the O-line. Same thing. Justin Herbert has been beaten with injuries this year. If his O-line can keep him upright and give him the chance to make those reads and make those plays, same thing. They've got the chance. The defense, they have the defense, the weapons, the quarterback, they got the coach. Wear and tear will be the big thing that can prohibit the Chargers from going far. So as we look at, once again, our playoff bracket and our first round, the wild card predictions, I got the Texans over the Steelers. I got the Bills over the Jags, which I do think will still be a fantastic game, but I got the Bills over the Jags. I will say whoever wins this matchup probably goes to the Super Bowl. I will say that. I got the Chargers over the Patriots. I've got the Rams over the Panthers. I got the Eagles over the Niners. I'm not even going to say that biasly. I think the defense is going to be a big problem. It's going to be whatever team can get the most pressure on the quarterback in that game has a chance to get the win. Would I be surprised if the Eagles lose? No, but I do have them winning this game as unbiasedly as I can really say that. And I got the Packers over the Bears in that game. Majority of these games, as I kind of said, is quarterback pressure. I don't think the Steelers want to be here enough to get the win against the Texans. I think that Allen will find someone on his team to give him enough help to get the win over Trevor Lawrence. I think, again, Drake May is not going to be able to outshoot Justin Herbert in the playoffs. And I think it's going to get a little rattled. The Panthers are just happy to be there. The Rams are going to dominate them. Again, the injuries and the defense for the Niners is too much of a question mark for me to give them a win over the Eagles. And I think the Packers are going to have enough to be able to get over Caleb Williams, who at times has still struggled with his consistency. So with that being said, that is our first round of the playoffs predicted for the NFL. And that is our show. Once again, thank you for tuning into another episode of the podcast. And I already hit you with the goodbyes. Instagram and Twitter at Nas Kaleem, NAASKALEEM. Hit me up over there. Go to the link tree in the bio, find all the stuff you can find right there. And with that being said, thank you guys for tuning into another episode. And do not forget to spread peace, love, and positivity always.